That's it?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 26. Yes, that's it, of Super Awesome Film Club. My name is Blair-Freese, and I will be our host as we are in season 3, where we talk about movies that have influenced us as movie watchers. And today we will be talking about Fargo, which is the final movie in my series of movies that influenced me. With me, I have our usual host, Heidi Blair. Adelaide Blair, as she's known in some circles, and Nick, our man about town.
Hey, I want to be in your circle.
Well, the circle of names, you can be Nicholas then in this circle.
The circle of life.
Whatever circle you want to have me in, I'm glad to be there.
All right, well, to move on, Fargo is a movie from 1996, written, produced, directed, and edited by Joel and Ethan Coen, the Coen Brothers, as some call them, in those circles. It's about a guy named Jerry who would like a little bit more money, so he devises a plot to have his wife kidnapped so that he can ransom her off to her rich father. And so his plan is to give these guys a Cutlass. I'm not exactly sure what the car model is. These two guys, Steve Buscemi and
Peter Stormare.
Peter Stormare. And yeah, so the plan is to get them to steal his wife so that he can ask for more money than he's paying those guys from the father, and then once he gives the father gives the ransom money over, get his wife back and the excess cash. Except everything goes wrong, and the movie ends with a lot more people dead than you would expect. One of the reasons that I really liked this movie as a kid, and one of the reasons why I really like it now.
Okay, wait, what do you mean you liked it as a kid? Who let you see this movie as a kid? Because it was not me.
Yeah, I was like 14 when I watched it for the first time.
Okay, I can. 14's okay. I was thinking more like 8, 9, and I was starting to dial your dad's phone number. Okay, yeah.
So I watched this movie when I was like 14 years old, which I still consider a kid age, early teens. And one of the things that I first really liked about this movie was that I have never been to Minnesota or North Dakota or really off the Pacific coast. So I had never had experience with this kind of slower, kind of not really country lifestyle, but cities are further and far between, and it's a slower kind of paced environment, and it really shows in the movie. So the movie has a kind of a slow pace to it, and people talk really slowly, and the conversations go kind of at a nice, easygoing pace, and you really get a feel for the lives of these actual people. Like, you kind of start to think of them as like people in this real environment, and that was something that I took away from it, going like, whoa, that's what it's like in North Dakota? That's pretty crazy. By the way, this movie takes place in Fargo, North Dakota.
No.
It does?
Well, it takes place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. But
What the hell is up with that?
They go to Fargo. Fargo is where he meets the bad guys and sets up the deal.
Yes.
Right. So why is this called Fargo?
Because it's better than Minneapolis. Or Brainerd. Now, that might have worked. But,
Yeah.
but I think Fargo's just a better name.
Yeah, true. So, but it was a totally new environment. Everybody's you betcha. And I have a lot of fun with that part of the movie because you don't get to see that a lot. You see a lot of movies taking place in big cities, New York, Boston. You got those accents, but things rarely take place in, say, the Midwest. And so that was very exciting to me. It's also just a really exciting thriller without being totally in your face all the time. You're not expecting, there's a scene where a couple gets run off the road and one of the hitmen or one of the henchmen goes and kills them. And that, it kind of flies out of nowhere. There's a lot of those kinds of scenes in there. And the ending, there's the famous wood chipper scene. definitely did not see that coming. And it's these like moments of extreme human condition action that is so much more thrilling, because the movie starts off saying it's based off of true events, which it kind of is and mostly isn't. But you do like feel really thrilled by these people's actions and reactions, and it feels kind of real, and it breaks your idea of what, you know, a normal everyday day-to-day situation is. But the human condition is so well represented, and these people's lives are so well represented that you really do feel thrilled in these moments. And it's, I mean, it's just fun. It's a fun movie. It's clever. I think the DLR, you know, the dealer license plate jokes like that are classic. And I think that this movie, I mean, it made the National Film Registry. It's a classic for a lot of reasons. One of them is the jokes. So, Nick, what do you think of Fargo?
I really enjoy how well it depicts at least our stereotypes surrounding the Midwest and the people that live in it. I haven't had much interaction with a lot of Midwesterners, but I am required to do so in my job, talking on the phone at some points. And usually when I ask a Midwesterner how they're doing, they go straight for the weather, and I always think that's really funny. And Fargo just like so well captures that whole thing, and that's one of the most enjoyable things about this film for me. Also, just like Marge and Norm, perfect marriage. You know, like they should be a shining example for all of us in our relationships. Like they have a pretty simple life. You know, Norm has his paintings, and he's trying to get on the postage stamps with his mallards, and Marge is doing her thing as in the police force, and they're very supportive of each other. And you know, Norm wants to make sure that Margie has her breakfast in the morning because it's really important. You know, I just think that they're a shining example, and I'm so glad that the Coens brought them into existence for us.
So, can I piggyback on that?
Yeah.
One of the things that I have as a criticism of the Coen Brothers is that I don't think they do love very well. Most of their romantic relationships, in most instances, are unsatisfying, or they're ironical, or it's part of the joke. But in this instance, it's one of the few times where I think they do love well, because Margie and Norm love each other so much, and they have these independent existences, but they have room for the other person to thrive. Like they have a companionate marriage, and she is very much his equal. You know, like he doesn't, you know, like the traditional gender stereotypes don't apply with them. But she's also like very, you know, she's not like super aggressive, and he's not super,
right,
relaxed or whatever. I mean, they fall within normal stereotypical behavior of their gender, but yet she's the police chief and he's a painter, and they both support each other's jobs, but they take care of each other, and they're, you know, I don't know that I'd really want to hang out with Norm that much. But they love each other so much.
Margie does, though, and that's what matters.
Yes, and yeah, they have a really good relationship, and it's such a pleasure, and it's so enjoyable just to watch them interact and to see them love each other. Back to you, Nick.
And the evil dude is sort of matter-of-factly evil, and that's why I think well, I don't think Steve Buscemi's really evil. What's the other guy's name?
Peter Stormare.
Yeah, I don't think Peter is very like matter-of-factly evil. It kind of sneaks up on you because he's just so quiet, and that's what I think gives the wood chipper scene so much punch at the end. I mean, it's pretty evident about halfway through. I think after he shoots the kid in the face in the car, I think it's pretty evident that this person is not a good guy. But it's not, like you're saying, it's not really in your face or anything. And that kind of touch that the Coens bring to this particular story, I think, works really well.
Mm-hmm.
Fargo, A-OK. Yeah.
Okay, so I saw this movie, of course, in the theater when it first came out because I lived in a small town that had a really good arty theater. And I went with my friend Scott, and we saw every movie that came out. And so I had seen other Coen Brothers movies, and still there is nothing that could have prepared me or anybody else for the wood chipper scene. Like, nowadays, it's kind of like it's a part of the culture, of movie culture, and it's been riffed on in other scenes, and I just don't think that audiences who see it for the first time today can see it with the same blank slate that we did, because it was like a big fucking deal that
Yeah.
we're, shoving that guy in the wood chipper. And there's a wood chipper scene in in this Canadian movie that you watched it at my house, Io, and you didn't like it that much. The slasher about the hillbillies that go into the woods.
Oh,
Yeah, so I mean, that wood chipper, and it is an awesome movie, but I know you don't like it. But
Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
yeah, it's Canadian. It's a great movie. Go watch it, everybody. Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Watch it if you have a sensitive.
That was hilarious.
I loved it. Okay, but that's not our movie. But anyway, the wood chipper is now a standard part of horror films and other movies. So, but it wasn't then, and it was like, I mean, it was shocking, and it was hysterically funny, and it was like, I mean, I laughed the first time I saw it just out of pure shock of what, I mean, it was like I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
And it comes out of, it doesn't like, you aren't built up to expect that.
No, there's some dude feeding another guy into a wood chipper, and there's blood everywhere, and it was amazing. And it's, it's one of those feelings that, you see certain movies and you take certain things with you, and that was one of the watershed moments in my movie history of like, what the fuck did I just see? But I like this movie, and it's one of my favorite Coen Brothers, if not the favorite Coen Brothers, because I think Margie Gunderson is one of the best female characters in any movie ever. She is both the smartest person in the room ever, but she's really low-key about it. She's a wife, she's soon to be a mother, she's a police chief, she's dealing with a lot of different things at the same time, and she does not appear to be as obviously smart as she is. But as things unfold, she's really good at reading people and can figure out, and not only good at reading people, but figuring out what the next step or what the next piece of the puzzle is. So, she's super smart, but she's not like show-offy smart. Like, she's not Sherlock Holmes. She doesn't deride anybody. She's got this really low-key personality, and so people, I think, even viewing audiences, a lot of comments about this was the simple people,
Yeah.
And it's like, no, Margie Gunderson is really smart. She's also really loving. And
Oh, I think we may have lost Adelaide there.
Uh-oh.
Well, while we fix our technical difficulties, I'd like to hit on, Nick, you were talking earlier about the evil in some of the characters. What do you think about the evil in Jerry, played by William H. Macy?
I think that
Is he evil? I guess is the
no,
question.
I don't think he's evil. I think Jerry is an example of what happens to you when you are in a sort of stale and unproductive relationship to which Margie and Norm are the opposite of.
yeah, to me, she's one of the best female characters ever written, just because she's really complex, but it's not all spelled out for you. It's things going on underneath the scene.
Yeah.
We lost you there for a second, Mom, but you're back on now, and we've kind of switched gears a little bit.
What?
We switched gears.
What have you meant? I was talking the whole time. What did you guys talk about? What did I stop saying?
You were frozen.
Oh, really? Well, at what part did I freeze?
In the middle of talking about Margie.
Well, okay, what were you guys talking about?
So, Io asked me if she thought if I thought that William H Macy's character was evil, and
Yes.
I think that William H Macy is an example of the perils of being in a really stale relationship, and then Marge and Norm are the opposite of that.
I think William H. Macy is bad because and he's evil. As things cycle out of control, he doesn't do anything. He causes murders to happen. I mean, he knowingly knows that his father-in-law is going to get shot. You know?
Yeah.
He's evil.
He's an asshole.
I think that he is greedy, and I think that this movie does play a lot into the different kinds of, like, human condition, as I mentioned earlier, but also, you know, like, greed and evil. Like, Steve Buscemi is a pretty greedy guy. Jerry is possibly a greedier guy. But then the guy whose actor I can never remember.
Stormare is totally evil.
Stormare. He's totally evil.
But, okay, Peter Stormare is evil because of his actions. But, what's his face?
William H. Macy?
William H. Macy's character is evil through weakness and inaction.
I think that he is empty, and he doesn't know what to fill himself with.
That may be true, but I think a lot of people are empty and don't know what to do. And when things get that far out of control, they don't just sit there and watch, let situations where people are going to die happen. I think people can be evil through weakness and inaction, is mine.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, but quickly, Marge is the best character ever for a woman. Sorry, what actually happened was I have a certain phone that if it rings, it knocks out the internet for some reason, and I think my husband was trying to call me on that phone.
Mm. What an ass.
We love Darren.
I love Darren.
Did you want to mention Mike Yanagita, that scene?
Oh, and I was going to mention, so with, on the level of evil characters, and for some reason they're all men in this movie, which I don't have a problem with, seeing as there's really only one female character if you don't count hookers and a kidnapped wife. Mm-hmm. But there, Marge goes back and is talking to one of her friends from when she was younger, from high school, and he lies to her and says that his wife has died of leukemia, and she later finds out that actually he's a creepy stalker. And I was going to bring that in as another face of kind of the human condition and this evil.
So I'm going to disagree with that one. Because on the phone call that Marge has with her friend, she intimates that Mike Yanagita might be having some issues / mental health problems, and that he's living with his parents and having a tough time. So I'm going to say I don't think Mike Yanagita is evil. I think he's in a really bad place. Mm-hmm. And I think it's different than William H. Macy.
He's going through some stuff.
I agree with you there. But then, you have all these different faces of trouble, if not evil, if we want to give it a different name. And kind of like, where do you draw the line? Like, how would you rank them? Where would you say, like, this is an acceptable kind of trouble, this is super, like, sociopathic, and how is that really different? I don't know.
I'm going to say Mike Yanagita, pathetic.
Not evil.
But not evil.
But it's a good case, but it's all a good case study, I think.
Yeah. I'm going to say Jerry Lundegaard, evil. Jerry Lundegaard's father-in-law is evil, even because he's just that stereotypical macho male
rich dude
who's trying to control everything, and he doesn't put Jerry in the situation that he's in, but he certainly
He exacerbates it for sure.
Yeah, and he exacerbates Jerry's feelings of weakness and impotence in his life. But he's also an evil guy. Both the criminals are evil. And for once, the police guys are the good guys.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's because it's a police lady.
Well, yeah, but even the guys that work with her, who, by the way, both respect and care for their chief, you know, they're all good guys. Maybe some of them are a little dumb, but a lot of people in this movie are a little dumb.
Sure.
Most people, actually.
Yeah. Which I can see there were a lot of people in the Minnesota, North Dakota area who did not see this movie as a compliment to their culture. And I can see why.
I don't want anyone thinking I have ill feelings towards either people from North Dakota or the Minnesotans.
Well, see, the most stereotypical character is Margie, who is also the strongest and, as my mom would like to say, best female character
in the world ever. Yes, I love her. Okay, does anybody have anything else to say?
I said it all.
Yeah, summed it up.
You want to wrap it up, Io, or you want me to?
Go ahead, take it away.
Okay, so thank everybody for coming. We are going to be back in 2 weeks, and we are going to start the next person selection, which is Nick. We're going to start out with A Single Man, which is a film that's very important to him. He may or may not be hosting. I'm going to try to talk him into it. So, huh?
I have to. If Io did it, I have to.
Okay, then. So Nick will be hosting next week, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Thanks for showing up. Watch the skies, everybody.
Later.